Same lies, same plan, troops out of Afghanistan. 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 What do we want? Troops out. When do we want it? What do we want? Troops home. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Troops home. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Troops home. When do we want it? Now.
Max Obuszewski with the Pledge of Resistance, Baltimore.
What's important about tonight's rally, Max?
Well, the important thing is we have to speak out against the escalation of the war in Afghanistan. The war that's going on right now is a tragedy, to say the least. And for Obama, the president who promised change to follow the Bush foreign policy plans, is really going to tear this country apart. Before I left the house, I noticed that there were at least 100 protests around the country. I knew of many of them, but the last notice that I had, there were 100 of these going around the country. I know that you were at the White House yesterday. There are some people here today that were at the White House yesterday. There was a protest at West Point. I'm very curious to find out more information about that. What kind of security was present? Did they get anywhere near the academy? I don't know that. But we're really, really hoping that people are going to start waking up. That's the key. There are so many Obama supporters that were anti-war people at one time, or even peace and justice activists at one time. We need to get those people to come back. They thought by going into a voting booth and selecting the Obama lever that was going to bring about positive social justice, positive change. And the more experience of us knew that wasn't going to happen. But we would say maybe they're right. But show us the money, President Obama, and he showed it last night. And tragically, he's walking waist deep into the big muddy. In my opinion, what is my opinion worth? Not much. But in my opinion, yesterday, he signed his place into history. It was like LBJ all over again, warmed over LBJ. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Just trust me, just trust the Pentagon. We're going there. We're going to bring democracy and anything else good to that country. And it is so ridiculous. Every historian in this country, at least every honest, unbiased historian in this country, knows you cannot win a war in Afghanistan.
Now, Max, you go back to the Vietnam War.
In some fashion.
In some fashion. And you were a colleague of the late Phil Berrigan and all these protests over the years. Now do you see things sort of just repeating themselves again? It's like they don't learn from history. They keep on, it's like this military-industrial complex is running the thing, and we're going to end up with another quagmire in Afghanistan. Well,
speaking of history, I just sent out to my e-list an article from Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting. Surprise, surprise. They studied the Washington Post and they studied the New York Times. How many anti-war voices appeared as a columnist in either of those papers during the period of this study? Not one. And a vast majority of the columns were pro-war. Some of the ones that they classified as anti-war were not exactly anti-war in the sense of let's get the troops out immediately. They were more, well, we shouldn't be sending the troops. The point I'm coming to is here you have the two main tenets of the mainstream media supporting this war. Remarkably, though, a majority of the people in this country are seeing through that and are against the war in Afghanistan. So the issue now is for we people who are in the streets, the organizers, how can we get those people back out in the streets? I was at St. Vincent de Paul February 15th, 2003. We marched all the way from Camden Yards that day. There was snow on the ground. A lot of people from Baltimore went up to New York City for the big protest there. There were 500 of us that marched February 15, 2003 in Baltimore. That particular day, it was the largest demonstration, largest anti-war demonstration in world history, because there were demonstrations all over the place. against this war, the one in that particular case, in Iraq. Unfortunately, we did not stop that war, and that took the wind out of a lot of the sails. It's a sad thing, as you were saying, people don't seem to know their history. They really believe going into a polling station is a possible way of bringing about change, when we find out that the Democrats are just the slower train to Hades, while the Republicans, that's the fast train to Hades.
Yeah, well, somebody said when they were listening to Obama last night, he sounded like Dubya.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of W's speechwriters put together that speech.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, one of the comments he made in his speech was, right makes might. Now, I defy anybody to explain to me what does that mean. Right makes might. I have no idea. I could analyze that sentence for days, but I would never figure it out. The point being is, it's a fog machine. Obama is a fog machine. As I said at our Pledge of Resistance meeting on Monday, as we were discussing today's demonstration, I said, to be frank with you, I believe Obama is worse than Bush. Bush was a buffoon. We understood. He knew nothing, that he was a puppet, that Cheney was behind him. But Obama, Harvard Law School, the best and the brightest. He's intelligent. He speaks
A law professor.
Law professor. He speaks in complete sense. He studied international law. And this guy is taking this country into deeper quicksand. I didn't even mention yet, we are in the deepest economic crisis of my life. I've never seen anything like this. And we're going to be spending $1 million for every soldier in Afghanistan. And that $1 million per soldier doesn't include some of the costs they're going to develop after these soldiers come home. Some without limbs, they're going to have to be taken care of for the rest of their lives. Almost every one of them is going to come home with some form of post-traumatic stress disorder. We saw a possible example of post-traumatic stress disorder at Fort Hood recently. We're going to see more and more vets that have gone over several times to Afghanistan, several times to Iraq. They're going to come back broken, if not bodily, but psychologically. And who in the world is going to be paying for this? Not me. I'm a tax resistor, war tax resistor, but I can see the children, the grandchildren are going to be stuck with these bills. The empire is going to fall.
Anything else, Max?
I thank you for coming out, Bill. We really appreciate it. And we're all going to be working hard to stop this war. We've got many plans for January, February, March, April. The resistance will continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Max.
No
Keep
problem.
up the good work.